Hiya guys, Crazy Teacher Nick here again. So I've got another device very similar to the other two videos that have just dropped recently. This one is framing. And this one is really interesting because it's really easy to incorporate in your writing, especially your narratives and your descriptives. So what framing means is kind of beginning and ending your piece with that same image or scene or voice or object or idea. So it's a little bit more specific than just a cyclical cycle. So it helps the entire piece of your text like feel contained and intentional, like complete. Examiners like that. It gives that reader that real nice sense of closure. The writing feels crafted rather than just simply ended. And examiners love that. And you're framing your idea as if it's kind of like a photograph. And if you stay right to the end, I'm going to give you a great example. So it's like a photograph or a painting where everything inside the text has a connection. You can frame your writing around a person or an object or a sound or a phrase or a setting. And I'm going to give you 5 ways to do it, so make sure you watch till the end, guys. So why does framing work? Well, it creates that kind of unity within your text, making your text feel structured. Okay, it adds depth to your writing. Okay, so you have this kind of when the repeated frame appears at the end, it often carries like a new meaning because of what's happened, in between the text. So it creates this wonderful connection. It allows you to create that really strong opening. We know how that strong opening is so important, and because it returns to that strong idea with that kind of change in the beginning, but change between the beginning and the end, provides that satisfaction for your reader and your examiners. Examiners love deliberate, balanced structures, and framing shows planning and shows confidence in your writing. So this is why framing is such a good idea, and it is really easy, highly effective, very sophisticated, and is sure to draw marks. If you haven't smashed that like button, now's the opportunity. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, object frame. Okay, so here the focus is on the watch. So you might open up with a nice sentence like, the old watch lay on the desk, its hands frozen at 2:30. And then obviously throughout the rest of your text, you're going to, move through your different points, okay? And then you kind of end with this, on the desk, the watch still waited, 2:30, unchanged, as if time itself refused to move on. So here you can see how this object kind of frames the narrative. By returning to it, you're suggesting something. So it makes the text feel complete. Sound. Okay. Oh, sound is a great effect that you can create. See if you can pick up the sound in this sentence. Somewhere in the distance, a train was leaving. A low, mournful sound cutting through the dawn. Yes, it's that low, mournful sound. Okay, so the story you're going to write is then going to reflect how it unfolds. Leaving home, something that's changed, regret, and you want to end off with something like, again, that same train call drifted across the valley. Maybe this time I was ready to follow it. So that sound becomes symbolic. Its repetition kind of gives the text some emotional development. And you could probably cheat something like this and stick this into pretty much any story. Okay. Quotations. Quotations are actually quite good fun. And you could use this in non-fiction writing as well if you kind of like, used a good quote. My father always said, courage is quiet. I never understood what he meant. So that's your opening. So it's going to speak to the rest of the text, and within the text, you're going to recount the events that test that speaker's bravery because it's about the courage. And then at the end, you bring it to that wonderful conclusion, okay? A thematic bookend. And it shows that growth through that revelation. And when the time came, I remembered his words. Courage really was quiet. So you can see it's quite a clever way of using the same ideas and making the text feel amazing. Places. So this one is quite effective. The park was empty except for the rusted swings swaying in the wind. And this could go through the text, memories of childhood change or loss, or perhaps a change of fortune. And then at the end, okay, you're kind of creating this metaphorical mirror for time or even the emotions within the character. The park hadn't changed, only I had. The swing still moved, creaking softly, keeping time with my thoughts. So you can see it's quite an effective way. It'll give your examiner that really confident feeling that you crafted this text very carefully. Remember, the first thing that your examiner reads is going to influence them, and the last thing. So end strong. Voice frame. Okay, again, this could be more for your non-fiction or your speech. Okay, some of you could use in narrative or discursive or persuasive writing. They say young people don't care about the planet, and then you argue passionately, that young people do care with examples. So perhaps you're being persuasive or argumentative, persuasive. And then you end with this, so to anyone still saying that young people don't care about the planet, we're proving you wrong, one small act at a time. And it's that they say that creates that satisfying rounded argument. So kind of revisiting that original voice that you started off with creates that wonderful balance and shows sophistication in your writing. So descriptives or narratives, how to use your framing in paper too. Descriptives or narratives, images, settings, objects, okay, to show cohesion and that emotional maturity, your emotional maturity. Discursive or argumentative writing, so the quotations or a belief or a question. So either returning to it to agree or challenge or reinterpret it. And in persuasive speech, open with a catchphrase. Okay, it's always great, or a nice statistic or rhetorical question, and close by repeating that catchphrase or that statistic or that rhetorical question with some sort of development, some sort of new urgency, or even some irony. So it wouldn't take much to basically just plan your framing, because as I said earlier, having that opening frame and that returning to the frame, but the change in the meaning, okay, it gives you a direction in your writing to know where you are going. Okay, and having this in place before you start writing is going to be really effective. If you see you kind of running out of time on some of the ideas you had, you can have that return to frame, kind of change in the meaning, and it's going to definitely make the examiner see the sophistication you're writing, even if you weren't able to finish all of your text in time. It's the second appearance of the frame that is so important. Okay, that changes in meaning. Okay, it must reveal some sort of growth or irony or reflection, just to show your thought process and show that sophistication in your writing. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, but don't go away just yet. There's one more slide. So here's a very good example, the one that I promised you right at the very beginning. So you might get asked to write a descriptive piece titled The Photograph. So you might open up with the photograph sat on the mantelpiece, edges curling, colors fading into the beige of memory. I love that phrase, beige of memory. And then describe the people in the photograph or photographs, laughter, youth, summer, sunlight, okay? Reveal that one has since passed away, perhaps, okay? And then with your ending, it still sits there. The same photograph, the same laughter frozen in time, but now it belongs to a time that only the picture remembers. So the photograph frames the entire piece of descriptive writing, symbolizing both the memory and loss. Okay, guys, this has been Crazy Teacher Nick, and you know what to do. Oh, before you rock on, I just need to mention this this video is supported by No Reason Clothing. I'll drop the link down below. My favorite clothing. Okay, it's kind of like the t-shirts you always see me wearing in my videos. So rock on.